History of Marine Science from 1601 to 1800 by Dominic, Adrian, Luke, Ale, and Sammy. James Cook was a British explorer, navigator, cartographer, and he was captain in the British Royal Navy. Cook's voyages helped guide generations of explorers and provided the first accurate map of the Pacific Ocean. Cook eventually joined the British Navy at age 29, and he was promoted to ship's master. During the Seven Years' War from 1756 to 1763, he commanded and captured a ship for the Royal Navy. In 1768, he took command of the first scientific expedition to the Pacific. This area was known for how dangerous it was to navigate. After he returned back to England, Cook was chosen to circumnavigate and explore Antarctica. Edmund Halley was an English astronomer, and he was the one that set out on a voyage to study the magnetic compass. Halley makes key findings learning about the trade winds. Edmund Halley was also the one who discovered the relationship between the barometric pressure and the height above sea level. Lastly, we have Cornelis Drebbel. Cornelis Drebbel was a Dutch engineer and inventor. He was the builder of the first submarine in 1620 and an innovator who contributed to the development of measurement and control systems. He called it the diving boat and later launched it in the Thames River. His submarine vessel went about 12 to 15 feet deep.
During this time period, one of the main tools used for expeditions and research was the submarine. The first submarine was made in 1620 by a Dutch physician named Cornelius Drebbel, and it was later evolved into what is seen as the Nautilus now in the 1800s. The next tool that was used heavily in expeditions and research for this era was the creation of the first air-replenished diving bell in 1690 by an English astronomer named Edmund Halley. It was later evolved into Charles Spalding's version of the diving bell, which included a lot of improvements in the design in 1775. Last but not least, in 1715, Sir Pierre Remy de Bove created the first waterproof suit that consisted of just a waterproof dress with lead shoes. Later on, in 1797, a German mechanic, Karl Klingert, evolved this design and turned it into a diving suit, which consisted of a jacket and trousers made of waterproof leather and a helmet. All these newly created tools and inventions allowed divers and many other marine scientists to explore the depths of the ocean and find new things that they had never been able to search for before.
This is the technology that was used from the 1600s to the 1800s. On the left is a type of ship called a galliot, and it was a ship that had multiple sails and was made with wood. It was a type of ship made by the French that used a flat bottom and was used from the 17th century to the 20th century. It had large sails and it had a rounded stern, which was widely used all around the world during those times by sailors, pirates, and explorers. These boats were also mainly used by merchants. Every ship was slightly different and it depended on where it was manufactured. On the right is a compass that was used during that time, which is called the bearing compass. Compasses were made around 2,000 years ago, but in the 1700s, the bearing compass was invented. A bearing compass is a magnetic compass mounted in a way that allows the taking of bearings of objects by aligning them with the lubber line, which is the line showing the direction straight ahead. It was a specialized compass made to accurately measure headings of landmarks and measure horizontal angles to help with map making. These were already in common use by the early 18th century.
In 1698, English astronomer Edmund Halley made what might be the first scientific voyage to study the magnetic compass. In his voyage, Halley made important contributions to the study and understanding of trade winds. He also discovered a relationship between barometric pressure and height above sea level. In August 1768, Lieutenant James Cook left the port of Plymouth, England, to observe a transit of the planet Venus. On this and two other voyages that followed, Cook explored and mapped out the Pacific Ocean. In December of 1787, the Bounty set sail from England to Tahiti under the command of Lieutenant William Blick. The main goal of the voyage was to obtain breadfruit plants from Tahiti and transport them to the West Indies. The Bounty arrived in Tahiti in October of 1788.
Cook conducted 3 expeditions to the Pacific Ocean, one in 1768 to 1771, from 1772 to 1775, and from 1776 to 1779. James Cook had voyages to all parts of the world. He went to Antarctica, the Berlin Strait, North America, to Australia, and even to New Zealand.
Fun and interesting facts. In 1785, Benjamin Franklin wrote a letter known as the Sundry Maritime. This announced that he had had the discovery of the Gulf Stream and ship propulsion methods, hull design, and causes of disasters at sea. Next, in 1797, a German mechanic, Karl Heinrich Klinger, made the first diving suit. It is a jacket and trousers made of waterproof leather and a helmet with a porthole for oxygen. It is linked to an air reservoir that cannot refill itself.